This episode of Spartan Up is brought to you by Four Sigmatic. Join the Mushroom Coffee Revolution at foursigmatic.com/Spartan. All right, welcome everybody. We're a little different location here today. We're in Boston, right downtown near Spartan headquarters. And as always, I've got Cephras with me today. The seed hunters.
Oh yeah, thank you very much.
Seed hunters. Yeah. Obviously, we've got Johnny Wade over here on my right.
Got our producer,
Keep us straight.
Marion.
We got our producer Marion. We're missing today, or right now, we're missing Joe. Where is he?
So this is interesting. Joe DeSena was to be here with us, but we got a call. He had to go in for an emergency root canal.
Well,
Truly, Joe would rather get a root canal than do the podcast with us. If you're ever wondering if it's fun, do the podcast. But hey, something that is fun is this episode we've got coming up. Really special. 3 for 1. 3 incredible guys. Oscar, Mike. Tell us a little bit about these guys,
They're
Tim.
great guys.
yeah, Oscar Mike, it's an organization, obviously, it's not obviously, it's Oscar Mike, an organization of adaptive athletes. And they're out there, and not only they are personally overcoming challenges that they've all encountered, but they are inspiring others. And they go around and they talk and they give motivational speeches, and they all come out to our races as a group. These guys are missing arms, they're missing legs, they're in wheelchairs, they're paraplegics, and they help one another over the obstacles.
But they're not missing their hearts and courage humor. And
they not only sign up for our races, they sign up for a lot of races.
Yep.
And they're just out there.
They're such a
they're extraordinarily inspirational.
We are here in Tahoe at Spartan Up Podcast. F you, Erica. We've got Johnny, Noah, and Earl. And we are talking resiliency, grit, getting it done. I want to learn something here that we could apply to our own lives, for everybody listening, on how to overcome obstacles. I'm handing Johnny the mic. What do we got?
Well, how to overcome obstacles. I want to say, like, the easiest way is having a purpose, you know? Don't want to take anything away from the medal. The medal itself is an achievement, you know, but you do an RBs, you're going to receive the same one. Like, you know, in every single race for me, it's not just a different terrain. It's the people that I run into and what we help them accomplish. I don't want to sound like this is not a challenge for me, because it is. It's just I have gotten to a point that I'm trained and I repeat these constantly, like week after week. But just showing people that I accomplish this and being able to be next to them as they accomplish their own goals, I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Powerful.
Yes, sir. It's a purpose.
Yeah, I think when you recognize an obstacle, you have 2 choices most of the time, and I think the easiest choice is always to go around it, you know. And it's a lot of times if you can force yourself to choose to go over the obstacle or through the obstacle, whatever the obstacle is, a lot of times we've all 3 of us here have faced some pretty serious obstacles where we didn't really even have a choice. And I think that almost gives us an unfair advantage, when it comes to the next obstacles, because we've already overcome so much that, when you're faced with something. But not that everybody couldn't, apply that to their lives too. But that's just what I've noticed.
Not that you faced any obstacles, Earl, but you got anything for us?
Well, we're talking about making choices, and sometimes when adversity falls in our lap, or we have choices to make, and we could take the easy way out, or the pity way, woe is me, I'm a victim route, or we could try to reach down inside of us and find that grit and move forward, and understand that we don't have to carry that adversity on our own when it comes to facing these obstacles. Lopez, you touched up on it as well, having that purpose of helping other people getting through those obstacles. And I think that's something to think about as well. Even when we're out on that course, if somebody can't get up an 8-foot wall, you look at your team around you, or even strangers. Hey, help me get up this wall. I guarantee you they're going to help me get through that obstacle together.
In life too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's just a good life mentality. Sometimes we hold in that pride, like I can handle this on my own. Even though you're struggling for so long, it's afraid to ask for help sometimes. But once you do and you realize the right people are helping you out, you could overcome a lot.
If you're just listening out there and you're not viewing this podcast, the 3 gentlemen I'm talking to are adaptive athletes. Is that a proper way?
That's a good way to it. Yeah, so
yeah.
I lost a leg in Afghanistan, and Noah's a quadriplegic, serving in the Marine Corps, and Lopez lost his left arm while serving in the Army while stationed in Germany.
So if anybody is an expert on dealing with obstacles and overcoming them, it's these three guys. All right, let's pick up. It looks like you want to expand a little bit on these disabilities.
Yes, thank you. Because when we talk about the physical disabilities, you're a quad, leg amputee, I'm an arm amputee. During these Spartan races, it's not like I grew another arm and I'm able to like do more. His self-confidence have grown, and the purpose, the why, like he has made us a better person. We're gonna go into like why do we do this, and the mission. I'm gonna speak about OEW is to empower and motivate our nation's wounded veterans, but at the same time, it's giving us once again a purpose of why do we go through this. I mean, we still have the same disabilities that we had before we started doing Spartan races. The only difference is that now we have a reason why we want to go up a mountain for 32 miles. It's gonna be horrible. We know that. We're gonna be hungry, feet are gonna hurt. Monday, but like Monday we're gonna wake up and we're gonna be like, wow, we conquered this beast. We conquered this ultra beast.
What's a little confusing to me is you talk about 32 miles. We've extended it to 40 miles. Is that a problem?
Don't judge me with a good time. Let's do it. So just to announce, you will be with us part of the course. So if those are the miles, great.
I will be out there the first mile with you. What were you gonna say, Earl?
Talking about the why and why we do this, and Lopez, I know you touched up before on that purpose, and it's like you said before, we all face this adversity and these hard challenges in our lives and things that our cards were just dealt and we didn't expect it to happen. Well, and I think throughout the years we found our new purpose, and I found it's one of my biggest purposes is helping other people overcome their obstacles, whether it's a mental portion or whether it's a physical portion. And it gives you a sense of that purpose at all, and understanding I hate saying to people, I know what you've been through, because everybody handles things differently. Like somebody could be in the same exact situation I'm in, but they could be handling it differently. So I can't say, I know what you've been through, but what I could offer is maybe assistance, whether it's the physical aspect or the mental aspect of reaching your goals and living a healthy, happy life again. And I think that's an important thing to say about having that why. And it's very humbling.
Hey, Spartans, sorry to interrupt this great interview. We'll be back with the rest of it in just a minute. But first, we want to talk to you a little bit about our sponsor this week, Four Sigmatic.
We're sitting around here. I'm sitting around the kitchen table here with my good Spartan pals, Johnny and Sephra.
And our friend the Jackfruit.
Which I've been introduced to. I've also been introduced to recently Four Sigmatic products. We've got coffee and mushrooms. And I got to tell you, of all the people in the world, Four Sigmatics, they didn't know. They sent it to me. I don't drink coffee. I don't drink tea. I have never actually even tasted coffee in my life. So probably not the...
Really?
Really, probably not the spokesman for them. But because they sent it and I was asked, I have sat and I've drank them all. So I have broken kind of my vow and I've drank. And I got to tell you, I like them. All right? I mean, right down the line, the lion's mane. Yep. I really like that one. The coffee I was really surprised by. And I don't know if you've gotten a chance to taste the cocoa. Yep. But the cocoa I drank, and it tastes exactly like cocoa, which I do like.
Johnny, lion's mane's also called the bearded tooth fungus. Maybe that could be your spirit animal mushroom right now. Yeah. This one's got lion's mane and chaga in it. Have you guys ever seen chaga?
Yeah,
Have you
chaga grows on the side of trees and looks like a big
burnt
mass, right?
Yeah,
it's burned. Yeah,
exactly. That's the melanin in it. Yeah, and that's one of the things that these guys do so well, right? Usually, I'm like climbing up a tree and harvesting the chaga, and then you grind it, and then you boil it, and then it takes forever to make a tincture. And now we just got this stuff, and
just tear the pouch and drink it.
Yeah, way to go, Four Sigmatic, because like people don't understand how medicinal and how helpful these mushrooms are, and now they're just so easy.
And Tim, you mentioned about being somebody who didn't drink coffee, didn't drink tea and whatnot. I do drink a lot of coffee and do drink a lot of tea, and so it was nice to be able to actually, to compare it to that and it actually compares very favorably. You know, especially considering it's instant. Like the fact that you're drinking an instant coffee or an instant powder that tastes really, really good.
And
Well,
instantly makes you feel better.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, for years, my wife has tried to get me to drink coffee, and she says there's something magical about holding the hot cup and the aroma and everything. And you know, obviously, I didn't buy into it because I didn't do it. But
Poor Carla.
yeah, well, you know, I'm a little unusual sometimes. But I'll tell you what, I went ahead and I've tried these out, and it's just a nice feeling, right? It's a soothing feeling.
Add a little goat's milk and maple syrup, and you're having a party.
Yeah, I guess you can mix them up any way you want, right?
So,
but, I mean, they're good right out of the package, though.
So Sephra, how do they find out more about it?
Well, Spartans, if you want to come party with bearded tooth fungus with us, go to foursigmatic.com/Spartan, FOURSIGMATIC.com/Spartan. And if you use the code Spartan, you get 15% off, which is awesome. So come join us.
Would you say that for all of you feel like that's your purpose? That's your reason for being on this planet right now is to help others?
Absolutely, without a doubt. I wanted to get into this. You guys give us the opportunity this year to complete the honor series. There were 6 races across 5 military installations in the U.S., and we were able to target directly soldiers that have been wounded, either wounded or actually going through some sort of disease, illness, but whatever it is, they were facing separation from the military. That this year changed things. I mean, things changed a lot. We were able to share our story, and like you said, we don't have the solution to tell everybody this is how it's going to be. But like, you know what? There's a group of guys out there that are willing to have your back. It's going to be a Spartan race, or it's going to be Escape from Alcatraz, or it's going to be just a walk in to remember friends that you lost. Whatever it is, we'll be there for you. No guarantee, like I said, like tomorrow we're going to tackle a pretty big task. Can't guarantee you we will finish. I know we will, but like, can't guarantee it. But like, win or lose, we will be there together at the end. So, just want to be with you.
I like even just putting it out there. You know, when you see guys like Earl and Jonathan going through the course, you know, it really puts things into perspective. You know, and I feel like you and I talked about this a lot last time we were together, and it's you know, when you witness that, it's hard to make up an excuse after that. You know, even for myself, when I watch these guys do things, it's like, all right, you know, tomorrow when I have this thing going on, or, you know, when these guys, I'm doing the Chicago Marathon next weekend, and I thought, you know, there's no way I'm doing a marathon. But, you know, I watch these guys do this, and they're talking about doing tomorrow 32 miles. It's like, all right, I can do a marathon. You know, I like putting it out there in front of people, and it's like it's a call out almost.
When you and I talked, I said I was in a race once where I was just broken. My stomach was completely nauseous, and I had nothing to prove. And so I said, you know what? I think I'm tapping out on this one. And I walked over to an ambulance that was nearby. It was an easy way out. And as I walked over, there was a woman going by with one leg. And I said, motherfucker, right? If she could do this, how could I complain about my stomach? And so I continued on. So I think it's super inspirational for those around you.
I was there, actually, when you told the story. And you say, so, you know, this woman passed, and I also tap out, and I continue. So the story goes, the ambulance, that was still 18 miles away from the finish line. Because when you say something like that, well, you know what, I'll push through the end. Like 18 miles is quite a, you know. And I think, did you ever catch her or no?
At the end,
she beat me. Did you trip her?
She beat me by a few feet at the end, but I tried to knock her down. I'm competitive. I mean, one leg or two. We're racing. So let's talk about your organization, OEW, Oscar Mike, 2 different organizations. And I somehow got one of these organizations permanently tattooed on my body. I'm still trying to explain it to my wife. So, you know, tell me what happened here.
Well, I think you got to tell us why. Looks like you got that in prison, just so you know. You got to get that filled in, Joe, or something, man.
You know what? It was I was running out of time. It was a little painful. And
what do you say, no excuses?
No excuses. My wife, yeah, I'm dealing with it. I'm working on this one. We can see it. If you could see that upside down.
And it's supposed to look like that.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing was, I thought it was going to be a small tattoo. I mean, I'm like 49 years old. I don't need to get another tattoo. And Noah and I talked about it, right? We were hanging out.
I remember you letting me know how big the needles were going to be.
No, but I was thinking, I'll take a little tattoo, something that's not really noticeable. And we're in the tattoo parlor, and Noah, you looked at me and you said, this is going to be really inspirational. I'm thinking this size on my arm, and I'm thinking to myself, we don't really need it that size. It could still be inspirational if it was smaller. But I didn't have the heart to say.
I feel like I was talked into getting it on my forearm like that because that was not my intention at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Erica is to blame.
So
I don't know how it came to be like that, but that was definitely not my intention to get it long ways across my forearm like that.
What are we looking at? It's the Oscar Mike and Spartan logo together.
Yeah.
Here, show us.
Mine's pretty dried out right now, but
Let's see. Pretty awesome, man.
it's pretty awesome.
That's not a partnership. I don't know what is.
That's a partnership, and I'll tell you, the last month it's really motivated me. Just like everybody listening, every day is a battle, right? You face resistance. Like, I don't really feel like working out today. I don't feel like eating healthy. I don't feel like doing this. But I got Oscar Mike tattooed on my leg. So if these guys could do it, I could do it, and so it forces me to push through.
well, and it's doing something to me too because I have to do a race now. And I always, I love being around everybody when they're doing them, and I love sending guys to the races. But now I have to do one, and mostly because your daughter Catherine wanted me to fill in the center with red, and I said I can't fill it in until I do one. So
Nice.
I'm going to do a sprint, and so I look at it every day, and I know that I have to get to the point where I can do that.
Well, what we did was I got the tattoo artist coming to Iceland, and he's got the red ink, and so he'll be expecting you there.
Oh, all right. Sounds good. I'll book my flight tomorrow.
So let's do some tips. For those listening out there, how do we become better people? How do we become more motivated? How do we push harder in life? What tips can you guys give us? Because you're super inspirational.
It's just everyday actions. As you saw, the last race, now you were talking about Catherine, the last race that we did together, your kids happened to be there. And the only way that we're going to become better is, changing the stereotype about disabled veterans or disabled people whatsoever. We're here. We're going to do, that's what's probably the adaptive work. Adaptive is perfect. We're going to get through it. We're just going to go do things different. And we're going to show the world that quitting is not an option. Remember, I actually took off running with your kids. Erica was like, they're pretty fast. I'm going to kick their ass, And that's what I wanted to do. When I go back into the story about my own kids, they participate in a lot of races because they're always present when we're doing stuff with OEW. I actually happened to take them on a beast. And you love to go like around mile 11, mile 12, go back to the finish line to a venue. My son started smelling the turkey legs and everything, and he's like, I'm done. I'm quitting, I'm just, and I'm talking to him like, I can't say what I told him. It's very motivational. But I'm like, I'll put you out for adoption, And I remember him saying that day, he's like, I'm just a boy, I'm not a disabled veteran like you guys. And we all stopped like, what? We got to change the way people look at us. And you have given us a great opportunity. At the beginning of the year, I don't know what was the project, but we did get the phone call, Norby, you and I. How do you guys feel about different medals, or like different obstacles for the adaptive? We're like, hell no, This is one of the beautiful things about this sport. We all going with everybody else. And I think we're, little by little, we're changing and becoming better just by that.
Perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see is more, I don't know if military or not, more athletes with disability out there challenging themselves, and whether they want to be with the team or by themselves, give them that confidence and that motivation to understand. Like, 'cause I remember the first Spartan race I did was Wintergreen in 2013, and I went in there so cocky. 8-mile race, man. Oh, I've done Tough Mudders before. They were longer distance, and then
What is that called?
What's up?
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, exactly. I've never done another one since. But anyway, I remember driving up that mountain with Amanda Sullivan. She's the one who talked me into it, and I'm thinking to myself, man, this is only an 8-mile race. Yeah, it's like on a ski resort. Like, what? But finishing that race, it was at that time in my life was the hardest physical thing I've ever accomplished since I lost my leg. And I thought to myself, man, I got to do another one now. And it snowballed from there. And I think once you get a bite of that, and these guys convincing them to get out of their comfort zone and try something new. And you take a lot of pride in yourself, I feel like. And I think it helps a lot up here because people tend to define themselves with their disability. And I don't look at it like that. I'm a Spartan, just like everybody else out on that course. I may do it a little differently, but we're getting over that finish line one way or another.
I think the message from you and Johnny, from Earl and Johnny, is even for the people out there listening without disabilities, is pushing harder and getting out of your comfort zone is a healthy, good thing. Period. End of story.
Yeah, I think taking the first step, that's always the most important. With me, I always have to trick myself, and it's just start it. Once you start doing it, and then you're gonna either make it as far as you physically can, or you're gonna finish it, and then the next thing is gonna be bigger. I think that's why we even picked the name for the organization, Oscar Mike. As long as you get on the move, you never know what you're capable of until you do it.
I really hope this message of this podcast is able to reach more than Spartans, because Spartan community knows what this is about. The problem is, outside of the Spartan community, this is pretty intimidating. And I'm talking about Spartan Race, Oscar Mike, Operation Enduring Warrior. I signed up for my first race just with a group of friends. And when I Google a Spartan race, I see Robert Kelly and just flying through the obstacles. I'm like, whoa, am I supposed to do that? And that's what you see broadcast. There's a lot more than the race than just that. It's the community, they're helping each other going through. Same thing with OEW. Like if you see Operation Enduring Warrior, you're gonna see this group of guys going with pro masks, full uniforms, and they are creating human bridges, getting people across, and you're like, holy crap, who are these people? We're going for that one. My first event with OEW, probably, I'm going to give you the benefit, it was probably 20 feet into the course. I see one of these guys falling down, face first. And it was the greatest thing that ever happened, because I saw the rest of the team picking him up. And I'm like, you fall just like us and you bleed just like us, and you're still going through this. So I hope it reaches more than Spartans, and I'm going to tell you, get out of the comfort zone. There's the fear of, wow, this is a race. And these are, in black and white in paper, it looks horrible. It's 34 miles. What is it? 34 miles, 36 obstacles, the elevation gate, it just sounds like a bad idea. But once you get out there and you start meeting people and, helping others or being helped, it's totally amazing.
Just for clarity, it's 72 obstacles. Anyway, not the.
We were doing the math today. So the bucket carry is twice, but it's 2 laps, so we're carrying that.
Sorry, hold on.
No, it's okay.
Hold on, people.
It's okay. We're doing the math today, and we're like, we put 2 bucket carriers, and I'm like, well, it's 2 laps, so it's 4 times. I'm like, wow, it's a lot of obstacles tomorrow. We're not thinking about it. Don't count.
You guys are awesome. Thanks for coming out. Good luck tomorrow, and hope you survive. What do you think?
I love that. I thought it was fantastic. We're going to have all kinds of takeaways from this one because there was a lot covered there. 3 incredible guys. But what I liked the most, what I thought was really cool, was they kept coming back to, yeah, we're adaptive athletes. That's great. But we're not adaptive athletes. We're athletes who adapt. And I like the way that he said everyone adapts to something. Everyone out there is adapting to something. This just happens to, what we're adapting to is more visible.
I'm adapting right now.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, the perspective of these 3 guys is amazing, right? Yep. And you've been on all these courses. You've seen them, Joe's seen them, everybody's seen them. But they are truly inspirational guys, though, on and off the course. But it's really, like you say, it's their perspective on their life, for not only running the races, but what they can do and what they can bring, and that they're can make others whole, if you will.
Did you like that he used the term when he said we almost have an unfair advantage? He said on this course, a course like this where we're going into what we don't even know what to expect, we have an unfair advantage because we've dealt with so much that this is going to seem not as huge in comparison to somebody who maybe
hasn't
as
daunting for them. Right.
It's a pretty neat way to, you don't want to in any way minimize anything they've gone through, but I love the fact that they're actually positioning it as, hey, in some ways this has set us up better for life.
How did they first start doing Spartan races?
I don't know if you can.
Oh yeah, Joe's new ink.
Can you see that?
Can you see it? It's very zen.
For those listening, we're showing off the tattoo. So it was Veterans Day weekend
at West Point.
No,
Yeah.
maybe the year before. I don't know what weekend it was.
Talking about
How,
Star.
yeah, and my daughter and I shot on a plane. We went out. Anybody listening, I sound funny because I just got a root canal.
True story. Joe just arrived straight from the dentist. He's had a root canal, and he said, "We're doing it. We're not." You guys
Well, my thinking, I didn't need a root canal, but because we were doing the Oscar Mike,
But I thought, what the hell?
You just thought you'd
You
go
just
a little
wanted the
bit
extra
farther.
pain.
Oscar Mike thing. So I said, I gotta at least feel a little bit of pain.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I went to the dentist.
No
I said,
Novocaine, just
no
go ahead
Novocaine,
and
just
cut.
drill.
Guys, this is how much he loves you guys.
And so I did
He really
it.
does love you
My
guys.
face isn't working, but and it sucks. But we shoot out there with my daughter, and I go see these guys.
Yeah.
And they built this new adaptive house. And I said, what's the idea with the house? And he said to me, listen, just going to the bathroom is like monumental. And if I could give some tips to the trade to other people that have to go to the bathroom in a wheelchair or whatever, it's going to change their life significantly. So I was so impressed, and I said, what do you call this thing? He said, Oscar Mike. I said, why do you call it Oscar Mike? Because it means on the move, military call signal. And is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And he says to me, I said, do you have a tattoo? And he said, no, I don't have a tattoo. I said, he said, do you have a tattoo? I said, neither of us had tattoos. Anyway, I was going to get a little tattoo.
I love that conversation. Now you guys are just like, yeah,
Not
me
that
too.
little.
I had no intention to go as big as I
I
went.
didn't know. Yeah. Sephora was there.
Yeah.
And I walk in, and Noah's in a wheelchair, and we're at West Point, and so you're feeling that, like, whatever happens to all these guys at West Point, as you would know, Colonel Nye, and I'm feeling good, and I go in there, and they're firing up the needles, and I'm like, I'm gonna get a little thing, like a quarter on my calf, or somewhere you don't even see it, my ankle, right? And
Joe's like, how does it look? I go, it looks a little big, Joe.
I remember you being on the phone
but I
saying, you
look
gotta
at
stop
Noah,
him."
who's in a wheelchair, right? And he's, for the rest of his life, and he's out with these guys inspiring everybody. And I'm like, I can't fucking say no to him, right? I mean, he's getting that size tattoo on his arm, and Sephra's just looking down, and I'm trying to get a signal from Sephra, but she doesn't want to say anything.
No. I was very verbal.
Anyway, the point is.
But I love the
there's
tattoo, and I love them.
something really deep, and I want to ask you guys, that goes on whether you see the movie Rocky, not to belittle, or you see adaptive athletes, somebody that's against all odds, right? Has it tougher than us, like I do right now with the fake root canal, and continues to push through anyway.
Yeah, sure.
Like I'm doing this podcast. I mean, think about the pain I'm in, but I'm here and I'm doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is that? Like, how does that reframe our own situation?
Well, that's to hear these guys talk about this, and the idea that most people go through life, and we've had so many people that we've interviewed talk about how the way most people go through life, and we're taught to go through life, is to avoid all struggle, to play it down the middle, to keep it 70 degrees all the time, just to have everything be easy and simple and straightforward. You've created an environment where people can actually go and seek out obstacles. They can come to a race, they can seek out obstacles. These guys didn't seek obstacles. They went into the path of danger.
Right, but they put themselves where they knew they were going
exactly, and
potentially.
100%.
Right.
And now what they're now saying is, we now are dedicating our lives to making the world better for everyone else. So instead of saying, poor me, I'm choosing to be a victim, they're saying, hey, yes, there's an obstacle. I'm now going to actually use that. So it's not only accepting the obstacle, it's actually embracing the obstacle and saying, this is what am I going to do with this? And so just the opportunities that are presented by difficulty. When we've talked before about, would you ever watch a movie about the life of the person who gets good grades and gets a good job and gets a good retirement? We pay to watch struggle and strife and redemption. There's got to be something to overcome. So someday there will be a movie about the day you got your root canal.
Hey, I did the podcast with a fake root canal. Holy.
But back to these guys though.
Sure. Well, I think that, look, we talk a lot about like what you can learn from that, but I think that's like an innate quality when you okay, Joe?
You have whiskey?
Got oregano. We got. What do we have? I wonder what
we do have. We have some Four Sigmatic coffee. We'll come back to that later.
We got some mushrooms for you, Joe. I think with these guys, like, you can't teach it. You know what I mean? Like, you lead through positivity and having the ability to have that strength to just always be positive and always be an inspiration. And Not everyone has that. I just went through the mountains of Puerto Rico. We met a bunch of elders, and I said, what's the one thing that increases longevity? What's the one thing that I see in all these people that are over 100 years old? They're all happy, and they're all joyful, and they're all positive. And I think out of everything that we learned, if you have that positivity and you can just show that and live that and be that, that's going to
no matter
lead
what
you a
the
lot.
circumstances.
No matter what the circumstances. And that's something that I think you're kind of born with.
Well, yes and no, though. And something I'm trying to think if it was a podcast that we recently did where you were talking to someone who said that what he misses the most about the military is that community and the fact that you've got a shared mission, a shared community. You look at these guys, they came out of that same background. And like you talk about the elders in Puerto Rico and some of the more traditional cultures where there's much more community. And that's something that we really are lacking in our society is community. And that's something that Spartan Race has done is created
5 million strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And growing.
Growing.
And as all these people start talking about tribes and communities and rebuilding it, and obviously the camaraderie they get in the military, I once again say, don't forget your elders, because there's a lot that those elders are teaching you, and your tribe is stronger when you incorporate them into
That's
it.
easy for you to say. When you get to mine and Tim's age, there aren't many elders left.
I'm like 108.
Not on the course.
The
I'm
elders.
sure of that.
Give me a break.
But no, again, back to these guys, Oscar, Mike. What a neat opportunity in Tahoe to have the three of them together and to have that back and forth and that repartee. Any one of them would be a great interview, but the dynamic of that.
Yeah, but I mean, those guys again, they went out. What they did that last mile on their hands and knees, just
Tough as
And
nails.
that's
Tough as nails.
And Noah was in Iceland, too.
At the West Point race, I was running with those guys, right?
Oh, yeah, I was with you guys.
That's right. And at
I
some
was- I was
point,
with you a little.
right?
Oh, yeah, I was
exactly,
there
we're
too,
all
yeah.
So anyway, we're going up the hill, and one of the athletes running, either no legs or paralyzed, but was crawling, and everybody said, "Hey, you're doing a great job," or something. And somebody said, "Well, if we were really, really tough, we would all crawl up the hill together."
That's what started.
And I thought, oh. And next thing I know, we're crawling up the hill, and it was hard. I'll put it that way. And to think that was just one hill to crawl up on your hands and knees instead of run up, and yet these guys went out and did a mile at the end of the World Championship route.
16 miles.
16
Which
miles.
was not an easy race to begin with.
Right. Just incredible what they're able to do, to conquer together, how they push each other. And again, when you see these guys or when you're around them, either on a course or just talk to them, as you say, the positivity of them, they're inspiring. It's the whole ultimate frame of reference that you always speak about. They've had theirs totally changed, and they've accepted it, and now they're they're gaining from it.
Yep, absolutely. And as they pointed out, not just gaining from it, but finding an opportunity to contribute. It's not even like I now need to take. It's I'm going to give even more than I've ever given before. It's pretty amazing.
And let's mention Erica here, right? Spartan staff who has worked with them at a million other races, and she's
kind of the team, team captain, team mother, team.
mama,
She
line.
keeps
I don't know.
everybody together.
All right,
But-
hey, if you want to find out more about these guys, more about Spartan, more about anything, go to spartan.com/podcast. You can also subscribe and follow us on YouTube, on iTunes, anywhere you get your podcasts. But check us out every week because we have incredible people. Not always 3 in 1, but always incredible people.
This episode of Spartan Up is brought to you by Four Sigmatic. Join the Mushroom Coffee Revolution at foursigmatic.com/Spartan.
Thank you for watching another epic story of success. If you like our message, please share Spartan Up with your friends and subscribe on iTunes, YouTube, or wherever you catch our show, maybe in the woods. Spartan Up is brought to you by Spartan Race. To find a race near you, visit Spartan.com.